Ready? On your mark, get set, stand back. I'm Dan, and I've been designing kitchen gadgets for 40 years. I'm going to test some cake gadgets and see if I can find a way to make them better. I would exaggerate the shape. From a cross section at the very end, eliminate this entire part. These are the products I'm going to test. Perfect cake divider, curved cake slicer, Bon cake leveler, Xylus easy slice, two-handed cake slicer. Perfect cake divider. Its purpose in life is to show you how to cut your cake into perfectly even slices. Let's see how effective it is. Step one, I will center this as perfectly as possible. So the number of slices that this is preset to is 14, 10, 8, and 6. So I'm going to set this to 10 because that would be a little more difficult. 8 slices is easy. So first slice is made with the green guide. I'm not slicing all the way through by doing this. I'm missing the middle, right? So I'm going to have to go back and do this. But what I'm doing here is I'm just setting the guide. Now the next step is to turn the green part so it's over your last slice, then make your next cut. I'm getting a little messy here with both the knife and the guide. The way this works, if it's off by a little bit, it's going to be successively off more and more as you come around 360 degrees. If I use the guide as it indicates, I end up with an undersized slice because it is collecting all those inaccuracies and punishing the very last slice. The next thing I would have to do, regardless of that, is this now comes up. Oh, and it's pulling out the middle of the cake, so that's not too pretty. So now I've got to come in and finish up those cuts. Boy, for something that's supposed to give you evenly divided slices, I'd say this falls short for person number 10. Let's say you don't have a perfect cake divider at home. Let's look at some alternative method. I am going to use a protractor. It's all about the math. In terms of effectiveness, I would give the perfect cake divider a 0. It's going to be successively inaccurate. Time for the left-handed oil test. By making my non-dominant hand slippery is a good way to highlight any deficiencies in the design. And it's going to be a little more challenging this time because we have a cheesecake topped with strawberries. In terms of usability, there's no difficulty in spinning this. It's just totally inaccurate. There's just too much play in the mechanism. Added to the fact that if you have a topping on your cake, it's either going to destroy the topping or you're only going to be so effective at getting your slices done. There's no physical difficulty, but the fact that you have to try so hard to be accurate and the fact that they call it perfect, boy, it makes me want to give it a 1 out of 5. Let's see how I would redesign this. I'm just going to draw these little fins, which now look like this. I would make both of those a little more forgiving for a knife that's coming in. So I would flare those out a bit so that an incoming knife would guide itself more readily into those grooves. I would also rethink this part because this part is tiny as well. So this is what fits into the cake. It's not enough to keep it steady in the cake. As you're spinning this around, I can feel the play in this. And again, any sort of play is going to multiply itself. I would do whatever's possible to make these numbers more readable. So not only should the click itself be more definite, but the numbers should be more visible. In terms of a buy rating, I would give this a 0. It's a good idea, but boy, it does not live up at all to its perfect promise. You've got a ways to go. Curved cake slicer. Its purpose in life is to cut a curvy slice of cake. Let's see how effective it is. You center it. Give it a push. Wow, it's not that easy to cut through. Let me give it a jiggle. And we're almost through. It's a little painful because I'm pushing down on this blade. I don't think I'm all the way through. And lift. And we have a slice that has a curve. The slice looks fine. It may look a little bit better than a straight cut, but in either case, I'd be into eating this. Let's try the second slice. Here's where the mystery comes in. What do I do next? I've got a flat cut in the cake here, but I've got a curved blade. Boy, this is a little mysterious. Again, I'm in a bit of pain. Hopefully the cake is worth the pain. Here's slice number 2. I'm just going to put it on the same plate. The question really is, who gets this slice at the party? It's got to be someone you don't like or someone who doesn't like cake, or both. So, not sure what they could have been thinking here. The geometry just isn't working. Let's see how it compares to a plain old straight knife and server. On a scale of 1 to 5, I would give the curved cake slicer a 0. I just don't know how you would cut that second piece of cake. Now I'm going to try the left-handed oil test. And this is not going to be a one-handed operation. Boy, you really need 2 hands on this. Let me try it this way, because I really need to push down. This is not feeling good. It's got some resistance that maybe was not anticipated when someone designed this thing. I would love to get the design team in here and watch them cut up the cake. Again, it's not a bad looking result. I just don't know what to do next. This slicer put me in such a bad mood that I'm not sure I'm even in the mood for cake. But in terms of usability on a 1 to 5 scale, again, can't go low enough. I would give this a 0. I don't know what anyone was thinking when they're requiring you to push down on this metal edge in order to slice through a piece of cake. Let's think about a redesign. So here's the issue we have. This is slice number 1. Slice number 2 has nowhere to go. I can do this and end up with this piece of cake. This geometry makes absolutely no sense. I've tried looking at this every which way, flipping it, turning around, going left, going right. As for a redesign, here's what I'm thinking. A yin-yang thing that would nest into itself. So your next slice would also be curved, but curved on both sides. So essentially what I'm thinking is an MC Escher type cake slicer that would just nest itself as puzzle pieces as you work your way around the cake. The other issue is the pressure on the hand. You're cutting 2 slices at once, which means twice as much pressure. With this design, you're expected to actually push into the edges of the steel. A suggestion would be, of course, to turn this into a handle. We want something here, some sort of platform for the hand. Really, the best place to apply pressure is going to be right over the part that you're slicing. My buy rating for the curved cake slicer is a 0. It just does not make sense. If there's anything I've learned as a designer, you have to respect geometry. Bon V, cake lover. Its purpose in life is to cut evenly flat layers of cake. What I have here is an unfrosted cake that I'm ready to cut into layers. The first step is to adjust the heights of the blades. First thing to do is to loosen up the wing nuts. There's a spring on the other side, which will loosen up. Need to line the blade up so the blade itself is horizontal. Not really clear how tight to go here, and this isn't feeling good. Ready? On your mark, get set, stand back. Not that easy because I'm cutting 3 layers at a time, which would triple the amount of force that I need to exert. Also, there's no good way to push that way as I'm slicing. I've got this handle here, but what I find myself doing is try to twist the handle into the knife. I'm not even halfway through and I want to take a nap. This blade is starting to ride out of the top. So boy, it's not as level as I would have thought. Structural failure on the top of the cake. It's really nice and thick here, and boy, it's much, much, much thinner on this side. Oh, wow, that even fooled me. I was looking for 4 layers, but man, the top layer just self-destructed. Boy, I'm not loving this at all. It's destroyed the cake. The curved cake slicer made me too angry to eat cake. Now I think I'm too tired to eat cake. Let's try it with just a serrated knife and a ruler. In terms of effectiveness on a 1 to 5 scale, this gets a 0 because, boy, it's very difficult to use. It didn't do wonders for the cake. It actually mangled it. Okay, it's time for the left-handed oil test. I am not looking forward to this. First thing that needs to be done is the blades need to face the other way. I can't actually spin this around because these connector pieces are not round, they're actually rectangular. What I'm going to have to do is disassemble this and put it back together. Not loving it. So let's try something else. I'm just going to keep it in its current configuration and try using it as it is with my left hand. This is set up to be a right-handed tool that's working against all left-handers right from the start. Ow. 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 Maybe hard to see, but it's easy to feel the pain in my hands. And you can see again, if I let go, how high this came up. Boy, it's just uncontrollable. Man, I think I'm gonna call it quits. This just is not worthwhile. In terms of usability, I would give this a 0. This gadget requires more effort than just about any other gadget I've ever seen. It just doesn't deserve to exist. There is no shortage of things that can be improved. The blades themselves really need to be something more along the line of a bread knife blade. These blades are just way too flexible. The other thing, as mentioned, is that your force, so that the blades don't lift up. Even with a bread knife blade, it may want to take on a life of its own if you end up tilting. So I would design a handle here, and I would make that a substantial handle that has either some height. What we're really talking about, recommendation, is just a complete total redesign. There's really not much in here that's salvageable. In terms of a buy rating, I would give this a 0, another 0. It's not because I'm in a bad mood today. How can I be in a bad mood? I'm surrounded by cake. Xylus, easy slice. In theory, it's designed to allow you to cut, pick up the slice, and then push it onto the plate. Let's see how effective it is. It's a little tough because what I effectively have is a thick blade, now that there are 2 layers of material, one of them being plastic. Let me come in from underneath. I am just about the size, and let's push it forward. It's not like I'm pushing the cake off of the server. Boy, my next step would be just that. Let it drop or spin it, tilt it so that the cake falls off. Not immediately impressed. Let's try a second slice. Bit hard to push through because it's a double layer of material, the metal and the plastic. Scoop it up, make some room on the plate. I am going to push it forward. What I'm left with is this. It didn't magically come off of the server. So what I still need to do is tilt it. Let's see how it compares to a traditional knife and cake server. In terms of effectiveness on a 1 to 5 scale, I would give this a 0. Sorry. I know I'm giving a lot of zeros today, but trust me, they deserve it. It's time for the left-handed oil test. I will slice down, and boy, this is taking a bit more pressure. Notice I'm going to choke up because that gives me better leverage. Boy, I can also feel some pressure points based on the shape. The edges I'm talking about are right here. They're just a little bit sharper than you would want. Lift it, bring it over to the plate. Now push it forward. Now this isn't working well. I don't know if you could see this, but as I push forward, my middle finger and ring finger, they're actually pushing back because the shape is not conducive to resisting that force. Bye-bye, cake. Bye. See you. Cake is getting further away. This seems like it's going to just want to fall flat. Oh, we're getting a little caught up here too. I'm not sure if that's a function of the fact that I was sliding against the cake as I was pushing. In terms of usability, on a 1 to 5 scale, I would give this a 0.5, maybe a 0, because I don't see any advantage to this over a traditional slicer. Okay, let's think about a redesign. Because we're pushing forward, that means this part of the handle wants to push back. I would exaggerate this shape quite a bit. Not necessarily this exact shape, but you get the idea is that at least my index finger, or maybe all fingers, to contribute to the resisting force. I would try a couple of different shapes there if I was actually designing this. The other thing I would do, and this is a bit radical, is I don't see any reason for this part of the blade at all. All we want to do is push off the cake. So if we want to push off the cake, there's no sense sliding the cake forward. I think we just want to limit this to here. To be clear, what I would do is eliminate this entire part of this dark gray plastic piece. Sorry, I'm drawing right on the gadget itself as opposed to sketching, but boy, I don't see any reason to use this at any point in the future, so I think we're okay. In terms of a buy rating, sorry, another 0. I don't see any reason to own this because it just makes life a little more difficult, not easier, but boy, another 0. Two-handed cake slicer. Its purpose in life is to slice a piece of cake and pick it up in the same motion. Let's see how effective it is. And that was okay. I will say there's a little bit of a curve to the slice because the way I'm pulling it in, you can squeeze or expand this to adjust to any size slice. The more you squeeze it, it takes on more of a curve. So let's see, that may be problematic. This time I'm going to cut a smaller slice. Let's make a real small one. It's quite curvy. This slice looks good, but if I do another small slice or big slice, I'm cutting against the curve. It turns out having a pretty interesting shape of cake. If you don't like curved cake, it's a problem. Let's see how this compares to a more typical knife and server. In terms of effectiveness, I would give this no more than a 3, and I think that's being generous. It's a little bit demanding to require 2 hands to slice a piece of cake. Okay, let's try this again using the left-handed oil test. Oil on both hands, make both hands slippery. 2 hands down, pressing quite a bit. I need to exert some thumb pressure. It's not feeling great on my thumbs. Doesn't really want to lift. It's a little bit out of control. With the slippery hand, it is a little bit wobbly. That's a function of the shape of this handle. In terms of usability, I would give this a 2. I don't think it deserves as much as a 3. It could have been much better designed and much better thought out. I should probably taste the cake just to make sure that the device didn't have any effects. Oh yeah, no problem there. 5 out of 5 for the cake. Hold on, let me wash it down. Let's talk about redesign. One thought would be to make the blades themselves of a heavier gauge metal. That could affect the ease of bending. You really would have to squeeze more, but it could keep the blades a little more straight. One place I would make a change is in this handle itself. Your thumb pushes down, but your fingers are pushing up. Because of that, from a cross section at the very end, the edge of the handle would have a triangular shape, and maybe the opposite at the front. Maybe we want a triangular shape here because this is where your thumb is going to be pressing down. As a buy rating on a 1 to 5 scale, I would rate this a 1. I don't think I would run out and urge anyone to say, buy this, this is great. I don't see it has any major advantage over a more traditional cake slicer. I think what's interesting about gadgets that fail to this extent is they're good examples of what not to do. And I mean that seriously. It's a cliche to say that you can learn from your mistakes, but in this case, I think you can learn from other people's mistakes. Cake gadgets, I am very disappointed in you.